Every single night, your unconscious mind is trying to tell you something crucial about your life, but you wake up and immediately dismiss it as random nonsense, not realizing you just ignored the most honest conversation you'll have all day. But before we dive into this life-changing understanding of dreams that could completely transform how you see yourself and your life, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, because what I'm about to share with you about Jung's revolutionary approach to dreams is going to challenge everything you think you know about the messages your unconscious sends you every night. We live in a culture that has completely misunderstood the nature and purpose of dreams. Most people think dreams are just random brain activity, meaningless fragments of memory being processed while you sleep, or at best, some kind of entertainment system for your unconscious mind. Modern science tells us dreams are just neurons firing randomly, that they're the brain's way of cleaning house, filing away memories and discarding useless information. But Carl Jung, after analyzing thousands of dreams over decades of clinical practice, discovered something that turns this entire understanding completely upside down. Dreams aren't random. They aren't meaningless. They aren't just your brain taking out the trash. Dreams are actually the most sophisticated communication system your psyche possesses, and they're trying to tell you truths about your life that your conscious mind is either unwilling or unable to face. This revelation didn't come easily to Jung. In fact, it emerged from his own profound personal crisis and his famous confrontation with the unconscious. During this period, Jung experienced incredibly vivid, disturbing dreams that seemed to predict not just personal events in his life, but major historical catastrophes, including World War I. These dreams were so accurate, so prophetic, that Jung realized he was dealing with something far more powerful than random neural activity. What Jung discovered through his own dreams and those of his patients is that the unconscious mind operates with a completely different kind of intelligence than the conscious mind. While your conscious mind is busy protecting your ego, maintaining your self-image and avoiding uncomfortable truths, your unconscious mind is constantly processing the reality of your situation with brutal honesty and remarkable clarity. Your dreams are where this unconscious intelligence speaks to you directly, without the filters and defenses that operate during your waking hours. In dreams, your psyche can show you things about yourself, your relationships, and your life that you would never allow yourself to see consciously. Dreams reveal the patterns you're blind to, the truths you're avoiding, the changes you need to make, and the aspects of yourself you've been denying or suppressing. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you had a dream that left you feeling unsettled, confused, or even disturbed, and you quickly pushed it out of your mind because it didn't fit with how you want to see yourself or your life? How many times have you dismissed a dream as weird or meaningless because it showed you something you didn't want to acknowledge? Jung understood that this dismissal of dreams is actually a form of psychological self-sabotage. When you ignore your dreams, you're essentially hanging up on the wisest part of yourself. You're refusing to receive information that could help you navigate your life more effectively, heal old wounds, and make decisions that align with your authentic self. But here's what makes Jung's approach to dreams so revolutionary. He didn't see dreams as puzzles to be solved or codes to be cracked using some universal dream dictionary. Jung understood that every dream is completely unique to the dreamer, and that the symbols, images, and stories in your dreams are drawn from your personal unconscious, your cultural background, and what he called the collective unconscious. This means that dreaming about water doesn't always mean the same thing for everyone. Dreaming about your mother doesn't have a universal interpretation. Dreaming about death or flying or being chased doesn't fit into neat categories that apply to all people. Your dreams speak in a language that's uniquely yours, using symbols and metaphors that are meaningful specifically to your psyche and your life situation. Jung called this the personal myth that each individual's unconscious creates through dreams. Your dreams are telling you the story of your psychological development, your unresolved conflicts, your hidden potentials, and your path toward wholeness. But this story is told in the symbolic language of the unconscious, which requires a completely different kind of listening and interpretation than we're used to in our rational, literal-minded culture. This is why most people completely miss the profound wisdom their dreams offer. They're trying to understand symbolic, metaphorical, emotional language using logical, linear, rational thinking. It's like trying to understand poetry by analyzing the grammar, or trying to appreciate music by studying the physics of sound waves. You miss the entire point. Jung developed what he called the method of amplification for working with dreams. Instead of trying to reduce dream symbols to simple meanings, amplification involves exploring all the associations, feelings, memories, and cultural references that a dream image evokes for the dreamer. You don't ask what a symbol means in general, you ask what it means specifically for you in the context of your life, your relationships, your current challenges and opportunities. Let me give you an example that might help illustrate this. Imagine you dream about being in your childhood home, but the house is falling apart, with broken windows, crumbling walls, and rooms you've never seen before. A typical dream interpretation might say this represents nostalgia for the past or fear of change. But Jung would encourage you to explore what that specific house means to you personally. What was your childhood home like? What memories does it evoke? What feelings come up when you think about that time in your life? What was happening in your family during those years? What aspects of your childhood self might be calling for your attention now? What parts of your foundation, your sense of security, your basic assumptions about life might be crumbling or in need of renovation? The broken windows might represent ways your perception has been damaged or clouded. The crumbling walls might symbolize boundaries that are no longer serving you. The unknown rooms might represent aspects of yourself that you've never explored or acknowledged. But all of these interpretations would be specific to your personal associations and life situation. This is what Jung meant when he said that dreams compensate for the one-sidedness of consciousness. Your conscious mind has a tendency to see only what it wants to see, to focus on what supports your existing beliefs and self-image, to avoid information that might require you to change or grow. Dreams provide the missing pieces, the other side of the story, the perspectives and truths that your conscious mind has been avoiding or suppressing. If you consciously see yourself as a victim in a particular situation, your dreams might show you ways you're actually contributing to the problem. If you consciously believe you're happy in a relationship, your dreams might reveal the anger, sadness, or dissatisfaction you've been suppressing. If you consciously think you're on the right path in life, your dreams might show you the parts of yourself that feel trapped, unfulfilled, or inauthentic. This compensatory function of dreams is one of the most valuable services your unconscious provides, but it's also one of the most challenging to accept. Nobody wants to discover that their conscious understanding of their life is incomplete or inaccurate. Nobody wants to face the truths they've been avoiding. But Jung understood that psychological health and authentic living require this kind of honest self-examination. Dreams also serve what Jung called a prospective function, meaning they don't just reveal current truths you're avoiding, they also point toward future possibilities and potentials. Dreams can show you who you're becoming, what you're moving toward, what wants to emerge in your life. They can reveal talents you haven't developed, relationships you haven't explored, paths you haven't considered. But perhaps most importantly, dreams connect you to what Jung called the self, the deepest, most authentic part of your being that transcends your ego and your conscious identity. In dreams, you can encounter aspects of yourself that are wiser, more creative, more powerful, and more whole than your everyday personality. Dreams can show you your unlived life, your unrealized potential, your capacity for growth and transformation. This is why Jung emphasized that working with dreams isn't just about solving problems or gaining insights. It's about developing a relationship with the unconscious that supports your ongoing psychological and spiritual development. Dreams are invitations to dialogue with the deeper layers of your psyche, to expand your understanding of who you are and what's possible for your life. But learning to receive and understand these invitations requires developing what Jung called a symbolic attitude. Instead of dismissing strange or disturbing dreams as meaningless, you learn to approach them with curiosity and respect. Instead of trying to make dreams fit into rational categories, you learn to appreciate their poetic, metaphorical wisdom. Instead of forgetting dreams as soon as you wake up, you learn to record them, reflect on them, and dialogue with them over time. And this brings us to one of Jung's most profound discoveries about dreams. They operate according to what he called the principle of synchronicity, meaningful coincidence that reveals the deep interconnectedness between your inner psychological state and outer life events. Dreams don't just reflect what's happening in your psyche, they often anticipate or parallel what's about to happen in your external reality. Jung noticed that his patients would often have dreams that seemed to predict or prepare them for significant life events, relationship changes, career transitions, or personal crises. These weren't necessarily prophetic dreams in a supernatural sense, but rather the unconscious mind's ability to perceive patterns process subtle cues, and synthesize information in ways that the conscious mind cannot. Your unconscious is constantly taking in information that your conscious mind filters out or ignores. It notices micro-expressions, body language, energy shifts, and environmental changes that don't register in your awareness. It processes this information and presents it to you in dreams as symbolic scenarios that reveal the deeper truth of what's actually happening in your life. This is why people often have dreams about the end of a relationship months before they consciously acknowledge that the relationship is in trouble. It's why someone might dream about career changes before they consciously admit they're unhappy in their job. It's why you might have dreams about health issues before physical symptoms appear, or dreams about family conflicts before they surface in waking life. Your dreams are showing you the emotional and psychological reality that exists beneath the surface of your conscious experience. They're revealing the truth that you're avoiding, not because you're in denial necessarily, but because your conscious mind isn't equipped to process certain kinds of complex, subtle, or emotionally charged information. Jung also discovered that dreams often reveal what he called the unlived life, the aspects of yourself and your potential that you've never explored or expressed. These dreams can be both exciting and terrifying because they show you possibilities that would require significant changes in how you live, who you associate with, and how you see yourself. You might dream about being an artist when you've spent your whole life in business. You might dream about living in a different country, having different kinds of relationships, or expressing parts of your personality that you've kept hidden. These dreams aren't necessarily telling you to make dramatic life changes, but they are revealing aspects of yourself that want acknowledgement and expression. Jung called this the shadow side of the unlived life. When you consistently ignore or suppress certain potentials within yourself, they don't disappear. They go underground and begin to influence your life in unconscious ways. You might find yourself attracted to people who express what you've suppressed in yourself. You might feel inexplicably drawn to certain activities, places, or experiences without understanding why. You might feel a persistent sense of dissatisfaction or emptiness that you can't explain. Dreams about your unlived life are invitations to integrate these suppressed aspects of yourself in conscious, healthy ways. This doesn't mean you have to completely change your life, but it does mean finding ways to honor and express the full range of who you are. Maybe you can't become a full-time artist, but you can make space for creative expression in your life. Maybe you can't move to another country, but you can explore different cultures and ways of being. But Jung also warned about the dangers of taking dreams too literally or acting on them impulsively. Dreams speak in symbolic language, and their wisdom often needs to be translated into practical, appropriate action in your waking life. A dream about leaving your spouse might not be telling you to get divorced, but rather to examine what aspects of yourself you're sacrificing in the relationship. A dream about quitting your job might not be career advice, but rather a message about reclaiming your autonomy and authentic expression. This is where Jung's concept of active imagination becomes crucial for working with dreams. Active imagination is a technique where you consciously re-enter the dream state and dialogue with dream figures, explore dream settings, or continue dream narratives while awake. This allows you to deepen your understanding of the dream's message and explore different ways of integrating its wisdom into your life. For example, if you have a recurring dream about being chased by a threatening figure, instead of just analyzing what the figure might represent, you could use active imagination to turn around and face the figure, ask what it wants, or even invite it to have a conversation. Often what appears threatening in dreams is actually an aspect of yourself that's been rejected or suppressed and is trying to get your attention. Jung found that when people learned to dialogue with their dreams this way, the dreams themselves often changed. Nightmares became less frequent and intense. Recurring dreams resolved themselves. New, more helpful dream figures appeared. The unconscious seemed to respond positively to conscious engagement and cooperation. This points to one of Jung's most important insights about dreams. They're not just messages from the unconscious to consciousness. They're invitations to develop a collaborative relationship between these two aspects of your psyche. When you start paying attention to your dreams, recording them, reflecting on them, and integrating their wisdom into your life, your unconscious begins to communicate more clearly and helpfully. Many people report that when they start keeping a dream journal and working with their dreams regularly, their dreams become more vivid, more memorable, and more obviously relevant to their waking life concerns. It's as if the unconscious recognizes that you're finally listening and begins to speak more directly and helpfully, but this process requires patience and consistency. Dreams don't always make immediate sense. Sometimes their meaning only becomes clear weeks, months, or even years later, when you can see how they were preparing you for, or warning you about something that eventually happened in your life. Sometimes dreams are processing old experiences and helping you integrate lessons from the past. Sometimes they're exploring possible futures and helping you prepare for what's coming. Jung emphasized that working with dreams is not about becoming dependent on them for guidance, but about developing a more complete and integrated relationship with your own psyche. Dreams help you access wisdom, creativity, and insight that's already within you, but not available to your conscious mind. They help you see patterns, make connections, and understand your life from a broader, deeper perspective. This is particularly important in our current culture, which tends to overvalue rational, logical thinking and undervalue intuitive, symbolic, emotional intelligence. Dreams help restore balance by giving you access to ways of knowing that complement and enrich your rational understanding. They help you make decisions that take into account not just logical considerations, but also your deeper values, feelings, and intuitive sense of what's right for you. So how do you actually start developing this kind of conscious relationship with your dreams? How do you begin to receive the truths they're trying to reveal? First, start keeping a dream journal. Keep a notebook and pen by your bed, and write down whatever you remember from your dreams as soon as you wake up, even if it's just fragments or feelings. Don't worry about whether the dreams make sense or seem important. The act of recording them signals to your unconscious that you're paying attention. Second, look for patterns and recurring themes in your dreams over time. Do certain people, places, or situations appear repeatedly? Do you have similar emotional experiences across different dreams? These patterns often point to important themes or unresolved issues in your life that need attention. Third, pay attention to the emotions in your dreams, not just the events or images. How do you feel in the dream? What emotions are the other dream figures expressing? Often, the emotional content of a dream is more important than the literal content for understanding its message. Fourth, explore your personal associations with dream symbols rather than relying on generic dream dictionaries. What does water mean to you personally? What memories or feelings does your childhood home evoke? What do animals represent in your personal mythology? Your own associations are always more relevant than universal interpretations. Fifth, look for connections between your dreams and your waking life, but don't expect them to be obvious or literal. Dreams often comment on your life situation through metaphor, analogy, and symbolic representation. A dream about being lost might reflect feelings of confusion in your career. A dream about a house might represent your sense of self or security. Sixth, practice the technique of active imagination to deepen your dialogue with dream figures and explore dream scenarios more fully. This can help you understand what different aspects of the dream represent and how to integrate their wisdom into your waking life. Remember, your dreams are not trying to confuse or frighten you. They're trying to help you live more authentically, make better decisions, heal old wounds, and develop your full potential. But they speak in a language that requires patience, curiosity, and respect to understand. This is your invitation to stop dismissing your dreams as meaningless and start recognizing them as one of the most valuable sources of guidance and wisdom available to you. Your unconscious has been trying to tell you important truths about your life every single night. Are you finally ready to listen? If this resonates with you, share in the comments a dream that you now realize was trying to tell you something important about your life. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into Jung's revolutionary understanding of the psyche, because learning to work with your unconscious mind is the key to living a more authentic, fulfilling, and psychologically integrated life.